park. They won't give you.
Turn on your mic, Bob.
Hey Shane. Can you
Hey,
hear
good
me?
evening.
Good.
So he's there. That's a good sign.
He's there and he can hear us. That's the important thing.
I can hear you.
There you go.
There he is. There he is. Mr. Microphone, you know?
Just push enough buttons and you can get there.
Eventually, right?
But Chris, I'm ready. I have my roll of quarters.
Hey, yeah, come on. Man. Rumor is you need to pay up to the swear jar, Bob.
I know. I know.
I mean, that the people at the newspaper caught it.
I think we're straight up.
All right, 6 o'clock, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you everybody for joining us for the Monday, October 4th, 2021 City Council meeting. To begin the meeting, we will approve or amend the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda anybody'd like to make? No.
No changes. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I'll take Brent. I'll take Al for second. Motion is second to approve the agenda as printed. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Tonight we have Deputy Strack. You're up next, Deputy. Sheriff's update. We get you right in. Sure. So I'd like to introduce everybody. Jeff Strack. He's going to be our new dedicated deputy to Credit River. And first time coming to our meetings here tonight. So welcome to Credit River.
Thank you.
And thank you.
So yes,
Yeah.
If you do me a favor, press the button and hold it down for a second till the green light on the side. There you go. You're good.
well, let's give you a little bit about my history. Jason moved into our investigations unit, if you didn't know. So he started today in investigations. My background, law enforcement, I've been a cop for 12 and a half, almost 13 years. I was in the city of Jordan for 11 and a half, and then almost 2 years here at the sheriff's office. Actually, all of the Scott County deputies, except for Captain Swedeen, I worked with on the streets. So I know them very well. So I worked in the city for 11 and a half years. I was the last 3 years there. I was actually our school resource officer in our level 4 school setting. So mental health is my passion with juveniles. But I know law enforcement and how cities run and adding services and stuff like that. So if there's anything that you guys want city-wise, reach out and ask. You know, if there's a law enforcement relationship thing with kids or just neighborhoods that you want to create, reach out and ask. I can help create that. Ordinance stuff, I know that you guys are with the city and the ordinances. Reach out and ask, because in the city of Jordan for 11 and a half years, I dealt with ordinances daily. So I'm willing to go over just the patrolling, just, you know, above and beyond to help out the city grow and become more of the city than just the township, you know, and that way. I looked at the sheriff's report for you guys. There's nothing really that stands out unless you have questions on any of the sheriff's report for us. The way, and I don't know how you guys want it ran. The way I look at it as, I'm gonna look at the sheriff's report. If there's something that stands out to me, I'll bring it up and we'll talk about it. If there's something that you guys want, Chris, I know I gave you my work cell phone and my email. Don't hesitate to call. Even if I'm not here during that week of shift week, send me an email. I will respond. I check my phone all the time. And I will get back to you instead of waiting until the next meeting. That way you can share it with the board members and then, the community. Cause I'm guessing that if there's a complaint or something coming up, you guys want to get back to your citizens right away versus wait until the next meeting. So don't hesitate. That's the kind of service I want to give, is if there's something comes up tonight, email me, I'll get your response. If I don't have an answer, I will get you an answer by the sheriff's office. But other than that, for the report, if there's something that stands out in your eyes, email me the case number, email me what went on or where it was at. I'll look into it and I'll give you as much details as I can give. Our summer months are going to be busier here due to the fact that we have Clear Lake. There is a lot of vehicle thefts that go on at Clear Lake. There's a lot of disturbances because we bring outside people in. Normally, for the last 2 years though, in Credit River, you don't see a lot of crime with the citizens. I mean, you get your normal traffic complaint, traffic stops, but you don't see anything that skyrockets out of the normal for Credit River residents. It's the people coming in. So any questions for me on how, or tell me how you want it ran?
Yeah, no, Jeff, I think that's how we've always done it is, we don't need a word for word report on what it says in the sheriff's report. If there is some things that, spike or jump up a little bit, absolutely bring that to our attention. Otherwise, I'll pass out your contact info to the rest of the council and we'll reach out if anything comes up. Likewise, anything comes up at your end, please feel free to reach out to myself or Karen, our clerk.
Sounds good.
Let us know. We'll help you take care of that. Go from there. Have you gotten a tour of the police station in the corner back there behind you?
Works for me.
Yeah. You can use the engineer's office for waterboarding if you have suspects and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can I leave them in there for the day? Just kidding.
Yeah.
You will see, and with that, I probably won't use this much,
Right.
because I'm kind of the person that, I have 13 years.
Yeah.
I don't like sit still.
Mhm.
So you'll see me in and out of the residence. You'll probably see me if in the summer months, actually pulling over and playing basketball with the kids, because I don't want to sit in a squad car for 10 hours. So, and if to my mind, in my mindset is that half hour or 15 minutes of playing basketball, that kid I may have stopped from committing crime later on.
Yep.
Or that kid's going to go and spread the word that, hey, we got a deputy in here that likes to play. Let's ask him to play. Let's build that rapport. Maybe he can come to me and say, hey, I have this going on. Can you help me? So that's kind of how I want to work. I don't have my future plan. I mean, like I said, I came from the city. I've worked a city now, and I don't live in this city. So
Wait, what?
no, I live on the west side. But when I was in Jordan, I lived and worked in the city, and I had 4 boys in the schools. So I knew everybody and everybody knew me.
Yep.
Where coming here, it's kind of, when I leave, I can kind of separate my career.
Yeah.
So I really don't have any future plans leaving this here. So you won't get, hopefully we don't get the revolving door of, oh, we got a deputy and then 6 months later we got another one, and 6 months, because it's just, then you guys got to figure out, and it's just kind of a mess for you. So
Yeah, well, we appreciate that.
yeah. So other than that,
And again, to your point, community engagement is very important. to
Yes.
us. That's a big part of it. Jason did a great job with that. Gotta mention, you're gonna do a great job with that piece of it. So stopping and visiting with the residents is perfect. I think, our community really enjoyed that so far since we started the contract. And, I think as a council, we're hopeful that we can continue that. piece
Right.
of it.
Jason was mostly worried about us getting his lunch out of the refrigerator.
And Jason only set the alarm off once. Too, but-
that's what he said. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So my goal is to never. Yeah.
Cool. Council, any questions or comments for Deputy Strack tonight?
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's usually it, Jeff. We're
Perfect.
pretty quick and move on. So
Awesome.
appreciate it. Stay safe out there.
Yeah, we'll see you around.
Absolutely. absolutely.
I start not this weekend, next weekend. I'm in defensive tactics. I'm one of the instructors for the sheriff's office now, so we're training this week.
Yeah.
We do have some deputies this week, actually specifically just working the hours,
Yeah.
and then I start Thursday through Sundays for a month and a half. So and that rotates back like
Yeah, I
Jason
saw
did.
somebody else out on the road yesterday.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
yeah.
So they filled the hours that way,
Yeah.
but specifically it's like a month and a half. I'll do Thursday through Sunday
Mhm.
and then back to Monday through Thursday and rotating. And when I work Thursday or Saturday and Sunday, mostly we adjusted it. It's going to be 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we're a little later into the evening.
Yeah.
And then during the week, we're actually going to come in a little bit earlier for like the school bus areas. So I'm going to try to hit where the kids are standing for school buses and stuff, just to protect the kids so that cars aren't flying by them, or you don't have, the law enforcement, we say perps trying to
Yeah.
abduct the kids.
Absolutely.
So we adjusted it that way. So I'll be, when it's during the week, I will be here before 7 a.m. for the school bus times.
Yeah.
And then I don't leave until 5. So I'll hit the school bus when they come home to make sure that most of the kids are safe.
Cool.
So,
Awesome.
okay.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jeff. Be
Yep.
safe out there. All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. Those items on the city council agenda, which are considered routine, non-controversial, are included as part of the consent agenda. Unless a council member specifically requested an item on the consent agenda be removed and considered separately, items on the consent agenda are considered under one motion, a second, and a vote. Any items removed from the consent agenda shall be placed on the agenda under old business. Tonight on the consent agenda, we have the August 2nd meeting minutes, the September 8th meeting minutes, the September 20th meeting minutes. We have the resolution 2021-42 adopting the assessment rules for Tower and Oaks Curve and Tower and Oaks Trail, and resolution 2021-43 adopting the assessment rule for the 2021 overlay projects, and a couple treasurer's reports. Real quick before we do that, I'm not going to pull the assessment resolutions, but just a quick update on those. The original estimate, the original assessment for the Tower and Oaks was set to be 14,600. The actual assessment is going to be 10,800. And the other one was the overlay projects went down from 2995 down to 2480. So with that, is there anything else anybody wants to just pull separately from the consent agenda tonight?
No, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Leroy. So a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as written. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Open forum. The public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns to the city council. The public forum will be no longer than 30 minutes in length, and each presenter will have no more than 5 minutes to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local governmental topics rather than private or political agendas. The city council may discuss, but will not take formal action on any public forum presentation. Is there anybody who'd like to speak for open forum tonight? One more time, anybody for open forum tonight? All right, hearing none, we'll close the open forum and move on. Since we have no public hearings tonight, we'll jump down to general business. You didn't want to speak for open forum tonight, did you, Tom?
Just one thing, Mr. Chair. I was just at the city council meeting, and you guys probably, you sure know that they're doing a full-time fire department.
Yeah.
Fire again.
We know.
Yep.
Yep. All right. General business. Item number 1, Scott County Solid Waste Advisory Committee. If everybody saw in the packet, the email from Scott County looking for, see if we want to participate in the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and I guess I'll leave that if somebody wants to volunteer for that. If we want to participate. So currently, they have representatives from Jordan, New Prague, Elko, Newmarket on the committee.
Mr. Mayor, can we do like we usually do?
Yeah.
Whoever's not here gets
Just
called.
gets called, yeah, yep,
I volunteer Andrew.
I think that's an excellent idea.
That's what happens when you don't show up. right?
Yep.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I guess I'm a little surprised that there's not a lot of participation. I mean, I know that Jordan, New Prague, Elko, Newmarket. I don't see, the larger cities there. I don't know what we can add to it to be going. I think it would be interesting. And, we certainly have a solid waste problem from time to time with people dumping things, but I think Nick overall does a nice job, and I've probably had more contact with him than anybody. Not always positive, but certainly workable. I don't know. I think there's some things that we need to make sure we're involved in. I think there's other things where maybe at this point we don't need to.
Okay. So I take it your suggestion, maybe push pause on that one for now, or you're all right? with
That's what
that,
I'm
or-
thinking.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the county does a pretty good job with it, and I just don't know who we're going to be sending and what necessarily the value is going to be to us.
Yep. I agree. All right, sounds good. We'll respond to them and let them know that we'll pass on it for this time. So, all right, next item up is parks. Added this because we've had a couple requests for some park improvements, specifically the Casey Park and Scottsview, which, we've had requests from other neighborhoods in the past. We've done some things, but I hate to just go and ad hoc, just do projects here and there without having some sort of an overall view or plan, which kind of almost then brings up a bigger topic. And then Cindy, I'll let you maybe help out with this, describe this a little bit more. I guess I didn't put it in the packet tonight, but talking more in a bigger sense is working on a park dedication fee study. As we collect fees for parks, where do they go and what's the appropriate amount? Maybe you want to describe that better than.
Sure. A park dedication fee study is very similar to something that, say, Shane might put together related to water and sewer costs and determining what those connection fees are for that. In this case, it would be a more detailed study to figure out, to put some depth to that comprehensive plan, because right now we just have a couple search areas in there and that's it. Kind of define a little more what sort of park improvements you would want to include, but then start to put some very rough budgetary numbers to that to figure out then ultimately what is the right amount that you should be collecting for park dedication in order to fund what your goals are. It would also look at a split between what things are justified by new development versus needed for the residents that you already have living here. And from there, you can take that information and develop that into your capital improvement program so that you can schedule out when you're going to do different projects in the parks.
Yeah, so I think for us to start with, I think it'd be good, to engage with Cindy and have start working on that plan, and at least get that done. Our fee schedules are, we change those in January, so it'd be nice if we're gonna change something with that we have something like this in place before the end of this year.
Ours are low, I think, when you compare it to most other cities. And you're even starting to see a lot of cities looking at actually a vote to raise money for parks. Lakeville will be in November. A lot of other cities are looking at that as well. So yeah, I think first is, are we getting the right amount, the fair amount? And then secondly, probably at some point, we should probably have a plan. I mean, we've been putting in swing sets and equipment and it's good. But, a lot of those units have a lifespan, surprisingly, of about 15 years. And most of them, except with the couple that we've added, are about that long. there's a lot of new things. We also have to look at handicap accessibility. And the league will actually come out and do an inspection for us
Sure.
in terms of like the base on it, and it may not be P-rock, it may be something else, but so we could do a lot on this.
Oh, no, that is exactly true. And
Absolutely.
it's, I think developing that capital improvement plan to plan on improvements and replacements as, you know, again, as they start to come up. And that is an important piece of all this. Or are you guys comfortable with the first part? Are we comfortable with having Cindy start working on the park dedication study?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Got to start somewhere.
I think
Right.
we're,
Not to pile on any more work, but
we are probably the lowest of any city in Scott County.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's because when we did your fee ordinance last year, we basically kept the same fee structure that Scott County and Credit River combined had been charging.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Louis, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, we do need to improve the parks in the northern part where most of the
Yeah,
population is, because the little bit that we have been putting in those last 20 years. We could improve with some bigger swing sets,
mhm.
a bigger play system in Casey's for sure.
Yeah, and that's what the residents are asking for.
Yep.
Yeah, and of all the parks, that one clearly has the most use.
So that might be the first one that we would look at a plan and actually have an expert plan it and you might actually take out what is there now and possibly start over. I mean, you may want to keep them, but
I
they,
think we leave that one, move it farther in.
Yep.
The places.
Yeah.
They do have a food truck down there on Thursday nights, and they do have anywhere from 50 to
Yep.
100,
Yeah.
125 people at one night
Yeah,
down there using the park, eating. So
we could look at some tables. I don't know what we do to keep them from
Walking away.
leaving, but
change with some nice posts.
yeah.
Figure something out.
probably the money part's the first.
Yeah.
step.
Well, I think looking at not only just the money piece, but you gotta start with what do you wanna do, how big?
Yep.
You know, I think the neighborhood's dream is something big, but that's the things that they've showed.
Well, zip lines are big right
I
now.
don't know that that big.
Well, but they're not, it wouldn't be the length of the park.
Right,
you know,
like-
you know.
The zip line
Like a-
goes to the trees
Well,
back there.
but you have like a 30-foot zip line thing and you're also looking at handicap accessibility and there's some things that and that could be our starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
So,
I'm gonna nose around a little bit and find out what maybe at least what the start would be in terms of some just real ballpark figures on what other communities are buying right now and what a possible price would be. I think that would be our first step.
St. Croix.
Yeah, and then probably if we know what we want to do, our best bet would be to do an RFP and actually get the bids and find out who wants to go. Biggest problem right now, as with everything else, supply chain, is getting the stuff. You can order it. And there's people that we're gonna do improvements this year, I know metro wide, and they still don't have them. So
Sure.
something to think about, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, Brent. Well, if you want to start checking on that stuff, and then Cindy will start with the dedication fee plan study, so we'll go from there. All right, next up, preliminary plat for the Rancho Credit River. Cindy.
Thanks. In your packet is a resolution
21-41.
2021-41, approving the preliminary plat for the Rancho Credit River. Mr. Feldman's here in the audience this evening as well. If you have any questions of him or if he'd like to say anything about the plans. The resolution contains a number of conditions that have to be met, as if some are just to be included within the final plat itself. Others are, some items are prerequisites to different steps later in the process. So his next step would be to apply for the final plat, which he is in the process of doing. And we'll keep moving forward from there. And they're of course out there grading the site under that grading agreement that we had issued back in August. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Council members, any questions, thoughts? No?
No.
Remember the planning commission recommended approval back in
August
August
16th.
16th, with the, with some comments to satisfy before we came forward for preliminary plat. And, you know, now the recommendation would be to approve that, so. If you guys don't have any questions, then I would take a motion to approve resolution 2021-41.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Al.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Leroy. Motion and second to approve resolution 2021-41, approving the preliminary plat for the ranch at Credit River. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, next up, resolution 2021-40, transferring the 2012A bond funds. Dominique? Get us back on that, please.
Yes, and it's included, oh, sorry.
No, you're.
Oh.
You are on.
Oh, good point. So the board had approved the payoff of the 2012 bond to save dollars, interest dollars, so that going forward, the collected funds will go to 401, which is our capital fund. So I'm asking that we close out the 2012 because the bond has been paid for. And in order to close that out, it needs to be zero. So I'm asking that the remainder, you approve the remainder of 2012 to be transferred to 401. And then any subsequent assessments would go directly to 401, Fund 401.
Okay.
Any questions?
Do you have any
No.
questions? No. Okay, well, if you have no questions, I'd look for a motion to approve resolution 2021-40, transferring the 2012A bond funds.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. Motion and second to approve resolution 2021-40. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Council member liaison updates and reports. Anybody have anything tonight?
Nope.
Okay, I've got one. So as you know, we've talked about the Prior Lake Fire Department considering, you know, some full-time employees going forward. Tonight, the Prior Lake Council heard a presentation from Fire Chief and City Manager. They would like to come and give us that presentation. However, because their council meetings overlap ours, they were asking if we could do a workshop meeting to facilitate that.
I think we should. It's our biggest line item.
Yep.
So it would make sense.
So given that, schedule it now. Our next council meeting is the 18th, of course. Of course, that's the same night as there, so that would work. We're looking for a night off of.
Did they give us any possibilities
No,
that
they were
work?
more looking for us to suggest a date for that.
Okay. Well, we probably want to do it this month, I'm thinking.
Hopefully,
Okay.
that would be ideal.
So,
You know, I don't know what we could still notice something for next week if we wanted to fit that in next week.
Yep, we can't do it. I don't think we can do it Columbus Day, can't we? Isn't that a?
No, it depends on whether you declare it a holiday or not.
Well, I don't want to touch that one. I mean, we'd start to get into politics here in Credit River, which I don't think we want to do.
They had you penciled in already for the 18th, I just saw.
Did they? Because the last note I got from Jason was to find a date. I'm fine asking him to come and, he said that if we can't figure something else out, that they would come on somebody would come on the 18th. It probably wouldn't be Jason, but probably Chief Steinhaus and probably somebody else from the city.
They had 3 people do that.
Yeah.
Steinhaus, another guy in the finance role.
Okay. Why don't we do that? I'd rather see if we can get him to come on the 18th. Unless you guys want to come to a special night.
No, not really.
18th
Okay.
works.
I think that's fine if they can come. Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Just do it as part of the
I think if the
regular
chief is here, and I think if Kathy Erickson's here, who would be handling the finance
Yep.
portion of it, I mean, it's the chief's deal.
Right.
And it's his vision, how he wants to do it. He's very
Yeah.
qualified. So nothing against the city manager, but
Yep.
it's those two that are gonna have
Okay.
most of it.
I'll be able to.
I'll respond to Jason, see if we can get him to get it scheduled on the 18th and
Yeah.
come on in. Perfect, all right. Other than that. Everything else. All right, sounds good. Then next up, approved list of claims. In the packet tonight is the list of claims for tonight.
I've got it. So the claims tonight. The claims tonight are 102,164.71.
Okay, so again, the claims to pay tonight, $102,000, 102,164.71. Looking at the list of claims, is there anything in there that anybody wanted to ask any questions about, or other than that, be ready to take a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Al.
And I'll second Chris.
Thank you, Brent. Motion and second to approve the list of claims for 102,164.71 tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
We had, Mr. Mayor, we had one claim for almost 5,000 for the removal of the trees from the storm when it rolled through. So.
Yep.
And they did a great job. They had all the
Yep.
roads open in a couple hours.
When the sheriff's department called at 5:45, and I thought it said potential spam, so I thought, well, maybe I won't answer, because everybody gets those. And when I called Randy, his comment was, he said, the phone has been ringing all night. He said, I haven't taken any calls, and this is the first call I take because we have to take care of you. And I think that just is a really good indication of the relationship we have with our contractor. And they were mobilized within a half an hour and out there. And we had 2 roads blocked. And Normandale was pretty highly, right? I don't think our truck headlights could get up that high. So they did a really good job. And we're just lucky that we have the relationship with them that we do.
Yep, I mean, we're fortunate too that was only just a.
I think that just you by 9 AM,
Yeah.
all the roads in Credit River were open, and that was
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
I think, given if you look at what happened in Savage, Burnsville, and Apple, we were pretty fortunate that that's just one small area that got hit. So, yeah, absolutely.
Okey dokey.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification there, Leroy. All right, with that, I take a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
And I'll
second that.
Al and Andrew.
God. Works weekend and night shifts, sorry, you guys.
All right, so I got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance.